Hello everybody, Bart over here. Long time no video. I've been really preoccupied with a lot of work and a lot of other activities, and haven't had time to update you on the progress with our maluch, our Polish Fiat 126. But everything is okay. Spring is here in Indiana, and we've been enjoying the car. You'll be pleased to know that we've driven the car through the winter. Of course, we wouldn't dare to drive it when it would be salt on the road. But if there was a nice clear day, we had quite a few of those over this winter in Indiana. We don't really get a lot of snow. We've driven the Fiat, and I have to tell you, it does great in the cold days because the horsepower goes up with the dense air. As far as the mods for the Fiat, I just wanted to show you a few things that we've done. You would be probably pleased to know that we've put the proper "Made in Poland" sticker in the back. That helps people understand what this car is all about. Believe it or not, we get stopped every single time we take the car out by people, and they ask what kind of car it is, despite it is written that it is a Fiat 126. Here it is written Fiat 126 on the license plate and also on the front license plate. But anyway, we put 4 new tires on the car. The price of the tires was a grand total of $80. And you'll be pleased to know that I had here in the US, it's hard to find these Fiat tires, but I found 145 R12 tires, which only cost about $20, and you can find them everywhere, and they work just great. As you can see, they're just a little bit taller than the original Fiat tires, but they look great and they work great. I swapped out the antenna for a proper PRL. PRL, you know, the Polish people would know what PRL means. PRL. Vintage antenna, so it looks more like period correct. We had a kind of ugly rubber antenna in the back. See, there is a mirror. Well, there was one. Unfortunately, a couple days ago we had a storm, and a wind hit our garbage can and it knocked out that mirror. So I am looking to buy another mirror for the right hand side. It's a bummer. We refinished the wiper blades, so they're nice looking now. They were really, the paint was coming off, and just overall gave the car a wax. Inside, I have actually used some compound to polish this plastic piece over the gauge cluster. There's no scratches on it anymore, as you can see. There was a lot of scratches on it, and I use acrylic or plexiglass polisher for airplanes. For airplane windows are made out of plexiglass, the general aviation airplanes. And I used a Novus product. I should have brought a bottle for it, that I use on the airplane windows when they're scratched, and they get scratched because of flying, and you know, just with age they will just get a little scratches. So you can repolish them, but I use the same product on the instrument cluster, and they work just great. So that's that. Just the little things like that. These little bolts, or screws, I'm sorry, they're now correct. See, orange, and red. They were all kinds of different colors. Inside of the engine compartment, we are starting to repaint everything little by little. You see, this has been refinished, this is refinished, that's refinished now, but these pieces are still need to be refinished. So, as time permits, working on refinishing the shrouding, the metal pieces. One thing that might be of interest to you, maybe you have the same problem. If you have an ignition coil, you may know that there are at least two different kinds. For this one, where it has two wires running, this is a newer style, running to the spark plugs. This ignition coil is oil cooled. There's oil inside of this can. There's another one that looks like a little transformer, and that one is, I think, inferior because there's no coolant, there's no oil inside of it. So when it heats up, sometimes it will fail. I had that older style, actually it's a newer style, if you will, but I had the transformer looking ignition coil in there, and it was failing intermittently. The car would not start. It was nuts. I would drive somewhere and the car wouldn't start. It took me a long time to figure out it was a short or something happening in an ignition coil. I put this one, which is made in Poland, like God intended, but it's the one that is cooled with oil. And this one is solid. I think these ones seldom if ever fail. So if you have a problem with the car not starting when it gets warm, put this kind of an ignition coil in there, and it will solve your problem. The next project on the car, I'm waiting for parts from Poland to come in. See, this belt is getting a little bit loose, and I need to put a new belt. I already have the new belt, but the prior owner took the shims that are supposed to be here and threw them away. So there's no way for me to put a new belt in there, because when you put a new belt there, you have to put the shims in here to make the diameter of the wheel smaller. So now I'm just waiting for these shims in there. So whenever you change your belt, do not throw these metal shims. You put them on the front here. You take them from the inside as the belt gets larger. You take them from here and you put them over here. Do not throw them away like the guy that had this car did, because then when you put a new belt, then you don't have the shims to put back into the middle. See, that's the genius Italian engineering, and I mean it in a good way. You tension the belt by taking the shims from here and putting it in here. When the belt is short or new, the wheel needs to be of a small diameter. So what do? You put the shims to spread this out and make the diameter of the wheel smaller. When the belt stretches, you need to make the diameter of the wheel bigger. So you bring these things together. Well, how do you do that? Take the shims out and put it on the outside. Simple, but simple engineering, simple Italian engineering, but works just great. I love those kind of simple engineering solutions that work. Not much to it. So that's one piece. And apparently, I was talking to a person in Poland that's sending me those, and they're very difficult to find, these shims, anymore. So if you do have that, don't throw it away, because you may not be able to find a replacement. Other than that, the car's been flawless. It gets a lot of attention. We drive it everywhere. We love driving it. My Sammy, my youngest son, is his favorite car. And I would be lying if I say I don't love driving the car around too. A lot of people ask us what kind of car it is and everything. I will tell you one more thing that we do here with this car is when we leave it for the period of disuse. So like, for instance, when we don't drive it for maybe a week or two, I put this here, plus minus, and we put a battery tender, a charger, automatic charger. So we just plug it in, so the battery will not sulfate. It's important to keep these batteries charged up, because if you don't, and you don't drive the car regularly, the battery will sulfate, and then you'll be changing the battery every year or so. If you use this battery charger, like what you use, I swear to God, you can use the battery for 5, 6, even 7 years. You don't have to change it. Okay, now for all of my Polish friends and fans out there, I've got a little request for you, please. Right here, numer lakieru, number of paint, 75. Could you please tell me what kind of US equivalent or kind of a different paint number I can buy, because I would like to do some touch-ups, and for the life of me I cannot find it anywhere in the US what kind of a paint code this represents. Now of course I probably can go to a paint store and have them mix me a paint, but I was wondering maybe I could find a touch-up paint, you know, like they have in the little pen, if I gave them the paint number. But if I type Fiat number 75, nothing comes up. So I was hoping maybe somebody could help me out and tell me if there is like a paint scratch or DuPont or PPG. I think those are the different makers of the paint. What is a different paint number that I could use? This is like, I think this is what's called medium red. It's kind of like a copper red color paint. Car is 1989. So if any Polish people are watching, please, if you could help me out, I'd be very, very grateful to you. New mirror is coming from Poland. I'm sorry, not from Poland, actually from UK, I think. Couldn't find one in Poland, but we'll have the mirror here, so the car will be completed, and we will be again this year in Automobilia in Indiana in August with the car. So hopefully we'll record some footage and we'll share it with you, and then maybe we'll do some driving around and show you Indianapolis and Indiana and surrounding areas when we drive the car around. Thank you for watching.